Всем привет, друзья! Мы продолжаем проходить игру Vampyr. Или Vampyr. Я что-то так и не посмотрел, как точно правильно читается. Мы продолжаем расспрашивать наших местных. С кого бы начать? Думаю, с девушки.
Evening, sir. Can I help you?
I have a few questions for you.
Well, if you must.
I spoke to Dr. Swansea. He's not the man I'm looking for. Now, I want the truth.
The truth? What do you mean?
I suspect that someone else was here tonight, and I don't think Tom wants to tell me about it.
I'm just the barmaid here, okay? If Tom says you're the only visitor we had, then you're the only visitor we had.
I can feel your fear, madam. Please, tell me what's going on.
It's Will. William Bishop. He came in here earlier tonight and he... Well, I thought he was going to clock someone.
Why are you so afraid?
I mean, his skin. His hands. I scrubbed every glass and every chair that he touched. God, I hope it's not contagious.
What happened tonight?
He was dead drunk, as usual. But my God, his eyes. His face. He must have caught something awful. He shouted and cried. It was terrible.
Tell me about this William Bishop.
Will was a sailor who worked at the canning factory before he lost that job. A nice bloke, really. He's never been violent. Until tonight.
Why keep it a secret? Why not tell me about it?
Tom's nothing if not loyal. After Will lost his job, he offered him one ear. They used to be good mates. But recently, well... Will started to get very aggressive.
I see. Thank you for your candor. I'll be sure to talk to Tom.
А с остальными есть смысл говорить?
Hello, sir. May I disturb you again?
And you're still ugly as sin.
Нет.
I'll leave you to your bottle then.
А с барменом?
Welcome back. Did you find what you were after?
I can't say I have. Are you sure no one else came into your bar before I arrived?
Hey, I told you, you were the only other.
Почему в этом
stranger
диалоге
I had.
такая ужасная камера? Вы можете заставить горожанина поделиться с вами информацией, если у вас есть подсказка. Синяя строка.
Tom, talk to me about the visit from your old friend William.
Yes, Will came by tonight, but he's not my friend anymore.
Why lie to me if he is not your friend?
I didn't lie. I said you were my only unannounced customer, and that's the truth.
Ну ладно.
Who is he?
William, just an old sailor who loves his gin too much. He worked for years at the canning factory before it closed.
Is he dangerous?
Yeah, like many drunks, he's all bark and no bite. He can barely stand up most of the time.
How was he tonight? Was he different?
Sicker than usual, perhaps. He whined and mumbled about how mean people were to him and how he'd like to talk to me outside, and then he left when I refused.
I need to find him. It's a matter of urgency. Do you know where he is?
You could try his boat. It's up by the North Pier. He sleeps there when he's too drunk to get home.
Please describe him to me.
What do you expect? He's a tall, sick bastard with a bad rash and torn old clothes. William used to be strong. Now he's a mess.
Thank you, Tom.
If you see him, tell him I don't want him back here unless he cleans up his act, okay?
Are they stupid or something? I've never even been to India.
Выследить убийцу, смотреть лодки. Но это нам нужно обратно к тому выходу.
I hope I live long enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them.
Мокрые ботинки, это что, название
I
банды
will
какой-то?
get to the bottom of this intrigue. what's been done to me, to this city. The body is still warm. This man has just been drained of blood. This man was armed. He tried to defend himself. This corpse has been dried of its blood, just like the previous victim. What's this? Some sort of note.
«30 октября от Джорджа Маккалума. Кому? Патрульным в доках. Тема. Множество погибших в районе доков. Мы полагаем, что там действует опасный кровосос. Найдите эту тварь. Ликвидируйте ее. Да побыстрее. Внимание! Судя по недавним сообщениям, этот вампир очень агрессивен. Действуйте с предельной осторожностью. Я знаю, что в этой части города у нас не хватает людей. Но не поручайте это дело новичкам. Если я не ошибся, то тут действует бешеная тварь, который убивает каждую ночь. Как всегда, сначала осмотрите заброшенные старые дома, подвалы, склады и канализацию. Уничтожьте кровососа, братья».
These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters. Blood and empty gin bottles. This bishop fellow is something of a heavy drinker. There are blood splats on the other side of the canal. I must reach that barge. It's locked.
Блять. Нажмите треугольник, чтобы применить оружие дальнего боя. Это оружие наносит обычный урон и урон при оглушении. Не забывайте, число патронов
Ammunition
ограничено.
crate. Good. I may need a lot of bullets. I feel like I'm back on the front line again.
Как я это пропустил? Какой-то невнимательный.
I cannot enter.
All the more reason to shame Mr. Lee. If the man says a bloodsucker's dug in here, you've got one job, and that's to
It's locked.
and find it fast. It's fair enough, Tom.
Оу. Но это места просто чтобы осмотреться.
I cannot enter.
Ну ладно. Да, я понял.
It ain't human! Kill it!
Ого.
He's done for!
А здесь что, обход? А, он лицом стоял. Я думал, спиной. Дают. Просто жизнь останавливаюсь. Так. Осмотримся тут. Какой-то коллекционный предмет поднял.
It's locked.
Тут новенький. Новое убежище. А я не помню, здесь есть fast travel между убежищами? Ну, сохраняться не буду, у меня нету опыта особо. Там кровь, да. Но я хотел еще наверху осмотреться. Старая лупара. Ну все, вроде смотрел.
Fresh blood. The whole building reeks of it. The scent is so strong it makes me dizzy.
I'll not betray your trust.
А, двуручным оружием можно удары отражать. А я думаю, было же отражение. И никак не мог вспомнить, откуда оно вообще. Как его снарядить?
It's locked, all right. This place reeks of bloodshed.
I must have more. Oh dear God, not again. William, please stop.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
Ой. Черт, от этого не отразишь, надо именно уворачиваться.
William was an honorable man. I could have saved him.
Mr. Hampton, are you in there?
I knew him well, another lost soul, a kindred spirit.
Sir, listen to the sound of my voice. I'm a doctor. You're suffering from shock.
I must return to my flock. They'll stray without me.
Remember, certain skulls are every bit as resistant as we are.
Who are you? What do you mean by scowl?
You truly are a newborn. I should have realized.
Wait. You are the woman from the bar. Are you like me? Can you help me?
I believe, sir, I already have.
Она вроде потом появится, но не скоро.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Patience, good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed his drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
There, sir. Go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
I just need a moment. If I can learn something about what has happened to William, I'll be a step closer to understanding what happened to me. This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be some subspecies of vampire? I must find a place to analyze the blood. I cannot enter. It's locked.
Когда у нее же появится адекватная одежда?
Where are we headed?
We're on our way to the Pembroke Hospital. It's just across the canal. They'll have a bed for poor Mr. Hampton.
William was... What manner of creature was he?
Predator, prey, villain, and victim. Who can say? The important thing is that he's been stopped.
Duly noted. And the woman? What... Who is she?
What woman?
Oh, don't play me for a fool. You used me to locate that skull. You must know who she is.
And I thought you a gentleman. You shouldn't talk about a lady behind her back, but I will tell you she values her privacy. Were London as peaceful as she appears from the middle of the canal? If only that were the reality of the situation.
To be honest, I've always tried to avoid this part of town.
Pembroke Hospital is the last bastion between the rest of London and the epidemic. The flu has decimated the East End and the war still rages. Welcome to the front lines of a plague.
This is where you work, Dr. Swansea?
I am the administrator of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Brotherhood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician. like yourself, Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it. I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Все-таки он знал изначально.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word again. From a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital. As a physician. I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate your predicament.
This is sudden. I was returning home to see my sickly mother. But alas, that was before contracting this affliction.
Dr. Reed, take a moment to consider. The post would be for the night shift, providing a good explanation for your absence during daylight hours. You'll be adequately reimbursed and have a place to hide. I even had the forethought to bring some clean clothes. So, what do you say?
It seems I have little choice, but yours is a generous offer, so I thank you.
Brilliant! Oh, Jonathan, this is one for the book, and the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy,
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front.
О,
He
наконец-то.
served King Country. Will be
Плащик.
joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea,
Welcome
immediately.
aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
I cannot enter.
It's okay, Jonathan. I'll see you later.
You can do better than that. Nah, it's my turn.
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river, dry it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Rid.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Но я сказал, что мы не будем убивать никого, так что... Много единиц опыта, там 50 с него падает вроде.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
Так пошли в больницу.
Did I black out? What happened?
Или у него не так все страшно, я не знаю.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
Мне кажется, как раз-таки последняя сложность сделана на то, чтобы ты играл через плохой путь, поедая всех подряд. Потому что, я не могу объяснить то, что там происходит, когда ты людей не ешь. Искусственное повышение ХП у боссов, противников. Ты вообще там в плане дэмэджа кусок дерьма. В общем, все печально. Так, мне надо в больницу.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Another night. Surely I can endure another night.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reid has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Загипнотизировать уже? Ты чё? 1000. Фигня.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reid. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Осматриваюсь. Все-таки мне очень нравится атмосфера. Прям вообще. И график уже не кажется такой плохой, как мне казалось на PS4.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to
Прям
conduct
все
my
прикольно.
research.
А где администратор?
Good evening,
Господи,
Doctor.
тут со всеми можно
I believe
говорить.
we're going to be working together.
Почти,
Dr.
наверное.
Reid. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reid.
Я еще не видел ни одного NPC, который был просто стоял, и с ним нельзя было поговорить, или у него не было имени.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reid. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Тебе уже не смешно было написано в субтитрах. Даже написать не смогли нормально. Там должно было быть типа теперь. У тебя больше опыта? Нифига себе. 4-й нужен уровень, чтобы тебя съесть.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reid. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reid. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Господи, сколько тут еще можно поговорить? Раз. А, ну вот, типа NPC, с которыми нельзя поговорить, которые просто лежат на кровати. Не знаю, можно ли это учитывать. Все-таки это больные пациенты.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reid? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Aykroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Aykroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Ой, все понятно. Везде найдется чувак, который не будет восхищаться, как остальные. Повыебывается сейчас.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well, it will not be the case with me.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Aykroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reid. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reid. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Да, конечно, конечно.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Aykroyd. I'm trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reid. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reid, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Aykroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Такая реальность, если я реально спас много людей. Ну, то есть, главный герой. В чем? Блять, это то же самое, что взять доктора Хауса и обвинять его в том, что вот он, блядь, издевается над людьми. Но он в итоге их спасает. Сколько он там за весь сериал не спас? Одного человека? Или двух?
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Aykroyd.
Пошел в жопу.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Чисто отстойный диалог.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
А, это ты опять, господи.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Ты везде. Блин, полно вообще с кем говорить.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
350, бедняга. Средство переутомления ему нужно. Кстати, он не может разговаривать, ему больно, я его доставать сейчас буду вопросами.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest then.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
2000, нормально.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Понял.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
В других больницах с вас бы взяли еще больше.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
А у меня есть лекарство?
I will see you later. I have to go
Зашибись.
now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Блин.
Doctor.
А это кто? Харви Фиддик. Но он последний вроде с кем поговорить надо.
Good evening, sir.
Здесь именно.
I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Ух, твою мать.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reid? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reid.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wood and nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Да, хоть что-то хорошее.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Ну все, можно отправляться, думаю, на второй этаж. В связи с эпидемией инфлюенции эта больница больше не принимает пациентов. Мест нет. Пожалуйста, возвращайтесь домой. Жестко. Какого хрена отражение такое странное? Ладно. Еще какой-то врач есть. Медсестра. Так, поговорим в следующей серии с ними, со всеми остальными. А пока я к себе в кабинет. Это еще один врач? А, это который был с первым, который я поговорил вроде. Не, доктор Суонси. Она вроде сказала, что у меня слева от лестницы, так ведь? Или у меня еще выше? Нет. Старая пила. Пациент Томас Элвуд, мужчина, 28 лет. Лечащий врач доктор Тибет. Состояние выздоравливает. Дата поступления 16 сентября. Дата выписки не определена. Примечание. Во время войны лицо пациента было серьезно обожжено и деформировано при взрыве бомбы. Даже получая самые сильные успокаивающие средства, он регулярно испытывает сильнейшую боль, словно, по его словам, огонь все еще горит под кожей. Осмотр рубцующихся тканей не показал следов воспаления, инфекций или отеков. Шрамы чистые. Может, это случай неизлечимого повреждения нервов? Пациент постоянно винит себя в своих физических уродствах. Может, это тот случай чувства вины выжившего? Фантомная боль как наказание за то, что он не умер вместе со своими товарищами? Ну, странное наказание. Странная причина для наказания. Доктор Типпетс, кабинет. А это мой.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Так я ничего не могу делать. Так, оружие.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Так, ну чё, прокачивать будем сейчас. Стойкость, состояние организма. Надо покачать. Хотя стоп, это здоровье. Не-не. Сначала будем выносливость. И еще разочек. Прекрасно. $500 нужно. Ого. Не, это все дорогие. Пассивные более-менее мало стоят. Но я не вижу смысла прокачки. Ладно. На этом тогда все. Всем спасибо за просмотр.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Блин, я надеюсь, смогу продолжить те диалоги, которые не завершил сейчас. Всем пока.